me know when you're ready.
I'm recording. I feel your nervousness.
We'll do this like you count 3, 2, 1. Is that how you do it?
It scared the shit out of me. Hey, I'm Frank Curzio, the guy in that video clip you just saw. Obviously, I'm still alive. And in a moment, I'm going to show you exactly what happened after the screen went black. It's pretty incredible, like something from a superhero movie. As you can see, I'm a pretty big guy. In a confrontation, I'd be hard to take down. If you couldn't tell by my accent, I was born and raised in Queens. Back in the day, at least where I grew up, the cops caught you doing something stupid, you didn't mess with them. Today, it's totally different. In just the past few years, there's been mounting pressure on cops. Every altercation is recorded. Every action is scrutinized. If a cop uses force nowadays, there's a good chance it's going to end up on YouTube. And there's even a greater chance that cop will lose their job. Doesn't matter if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's not really the point. The point is, something's got to give. The community wants to feel safe, cops want to feel safe, and no one wants to keep hearing stories of someone getting killed while being arrested. But here's the thing. Cops have to use force. It's part of their job. Not all the time, but sometimes. Let's face it, there's a lot of bad guys out there, and most usually don't go down without a fight. In a confrontation, things can escalate very quickly. That's why I believe this incredible new device, the one I'm about to demonstrate for you, is soon going to be on the hip of every law enforcement officer in the country and perhaps the world. And the tiny company that makes it is going to explode as a result. I could easily see this stock going up 1,000%. Now, if you don't know me, I rarely make big predictions like that. You know what? I'm probably being conservative. The last time we had a revolution in policing was back in the 90s with the invention of the modern taser. I actually analyzed that company shortly after it went public. Back then, less than 10% of police officers were using it. But I told my boss at the time, none other than Jim Cramer, this device and this company were going to be big. He thought I was a little crazy. He was definitely skeptical. But I recommended the stock anyway. As you know, Taser is now a household name. Every cop in America has one. At the time, and for many years since, it was the #1 way to subdue a guy without beating him with a stick. And the stock, as I predicted, went through the roof. That's a 10,000% gain. The kind of gain that turns a $5,000 investment into $500,000. But let me tell you something. Tasers have a huge flaw. It's an open secret no one really wanted to talk about until now. But they're not always safe. And think about it. You're shooting 50,000 volts of electricity into someone. And most people don't know this, but since the company went public, more than 1,000 people have died after an altercation involving a taser. And hundreds of lawsuits have been filed against police departments as a result. Some people are even shot dead after being tased. Why? Because according to a 2016 LA Times report, tasers were able to subdue a suspect only half the time the LAPD used them. Cops are becoming more wary of using them. Even the company that makes them is distancing themselves from the product. In 2017, after more than 20 years in the business, they changed their name from Taser to Axon. As I said, something's got to give. We need something better. We need something that saves lives. And I believe this device is the answer. That's why when I found out about this new product, I hired a film crew. I flew to New York City, interviewed the key players involved, and documented the technology on camera. I also talked to a number of the top cops in the country while investigating this story. And here's what they had to say about this device.
It was remarkable. I couldn't stop talking about it. I was on the phone with everyone. I called up my friend who was the deputy commissioner, police department. I called everybody, called 60 Minutes. I called everybody. I says, please stop right now, because as fast as we can get this tool out there, we can save lives. There is an alternative for the police other than shooting somebody, and this is the alternative.
Chances are you've heard of Bo. He has his own podcast called One Tough Cop. He's on TV a lot. They made a movie based on his life starring Stephen Baldwin. But most importantly, he's one of the most highly decorated detectives in NYPD history. So this is a guy that knows what he's talking about. This is Chief Don. He served as chief of police on 3 different police forces in his 30-plus year career. He rose up to the ranks, International Associations of Chiefs of Police, and was president from 2016 to 2017. So he was like the chief of chiefs. And you don't get to that position unless you're great at your job, unless you really know your stuff. Here's what he had to say to me when I sat down with him.
You know, at this point, where we sit today, this is something every law enforcement agency is going to need to have. It's not going to be an option of what maybe, maybe not. They're going to have to carry this device because policing calls for it, communities are going to call for it, and the leaders are going to have to step up and say, I believe.
Look, this is it right here. Yeah, this little thing looks like something Batman would carry around, right? And wait till you see how it works. And wait till you see what happened to me after I got shot by this device. When I first heard about it, it was actually through a friend of mine who's connected to the inventor. I thought it was a pretty cool story. After all, I love new technology. Throughout my career, I pride myself on finding the best ideas and which companies would be the biggest beneficiaries from these new technologies. So I thought, hey, you know what? This is a cool story. I want to go down and meet these guys, and I want to see how this works. And that's how this whole thing started. It's a fascinating device. There's no doubt about it. But as soon as I started talking to the people involved, especially the people on the front lines, the veteran police officers have to deal with life and death situations on a daily basis. I have to admit, I was moved. I realized this was such a much bigger story than just a cool new gadget or a great company where my subscribers could potentially make a lot of money on. I realized this is about saving lives, about making the world safer. So I could honestly see this device becoming the #1 tool of law enforcement in the world. When you compare it to everything else on the market, it's a no-brainer. Today, right now, most people have no idea this device even exists. That's not going to be for long.
Yeah, it's unprecedented what we're seeing. So let's just start with the product interest itself. We're probably getting anywhere from 150 to 200 department requests a month, maybe 300 a month, and just people looking for demos or more product information around the world. Countries, major city departments, and small town departments.
Scott Cohen is one of the firm's top executives. I got to know Scott very well over the past few months. He's a no BS type guy, straight shooter. He's incredibly smart. Made a lot of money for his partners over the years in various ventures. Now, think about what he just said. Maybe 300 requests a month from police departments all over the world. That's an average of 10 requests to test this device every single day.
I think this option of non-lethal ability is outstanding. We're in a time and age where we deal with a lot of mental illness. We're dealing on the police front with a lot of physical confrontations. We're seeing ourselves on the front page of the newspaper and the news every day. I think this would go a long way in helping our perception in police and also adhering to our guidelines and making things as simple as possible when dealing with the public and bringing things to a closure without severe injury. I think the community would love a product like this.
There's no reason for people not to like it.
What my impression is how powerful it is. And I don't say powerful in the forceful, debilitating way, but how powerful it is in number one, the audio. That's a really important point that I think that is kind of, that I wasn't expecting, is that it stuns a person.
This is going to save lives.
It's getting to the point now where news agencies across America are starting to pick up on this story. Fox News. This could be more than just science fiction. It could be a new tool to help police. NBC. It's technology police say could save lives. They say it's part of a new, more human approach to police work. CBS. San Jose Police may soon be deploying some Batman-style technology to stop suspects in their tracks. ABC. It's unlike any less than lethal weapon used by law enforcement. Stuart Varney, host at Fox Business News, says it's a fascinating idea. You want to know what's even more fascinating?
I've never seen a product where you don't have to spend for marketing. It's just coming to us. The media, we've been picked up by 60 or so stations. We've been in, printed all over the police rags, both domestic and internationally. We've made national news, online and print.
Look, it's not going to take long before the world knows what this is. People won't be talking about tasers anymore. They'll be talking about this incredible new device. Maybe they'll even call it the Batman device, like they said on the news. But the stuff you see on YouTube in the future won't be guys withering around, pain, screaming, "Hey, don't tase me, bro." It's going to be guys getting completely immobilized by the Batman device. Just listen to this.
Chaska, Minnesota. The chief steps up and introduces us and says, "From the time I saw this device, I knew I had to have it." He's seen nothing like it in his 42 years of policing. Statements like that are more prevalent. And so I think we're just scratching the surface.
We're in, talked about interest earlier, we're in dozens of departments now, training, testing, and I see the rollout next year of being both in large cities, small cities, and internationally. So we're going to have a pretty good idea of just how significant this is going to be.
I think the product is outstanding. This is the first time I saw it today. In law enforcement, we have to be a step above and anticipate anything else that happens. I think this product gives us an extra tool, an opportunity to not to go to less lethal or to lethal. And it's probably well past its due time for us to have something like that.
I went through a time in the police department where we didn't have any kind of tools. We had a gun, maybe had a nightstick, and that was it. Then the advent of the taser. The only problem with the taser, people die from it. It's 50,000 votes. So now all of a sudden, I see this piece of equipment, this piece of police equipment that is remarkable.
Let me tell you something about Bo. He's a great guy. We shared a lot of laughs when I interviewed him in New York City. And he's not just an advocate. He's not being paid to give this device his celebrity cop seal of approval.
I have to disclose, I actually put my own money into this company because I really believe in it. And I mean, I laid the money right out and I said, bingo, get me into this thing because I see this for the future. I see every cop. I see security personnel. I see even military people utilizing this great technology. And when you see it, you can't believe it.
He's not kidding. As you saw in the opening segment, I volunteered to be a human guinea pig and get shot by this thing. I knew how it worked, but to be honest, I had no idea what was about to happen. So what's so incredible about this new technology, and why do so many experienced, powerful, influential people think this is the future of policing? I'm going to throw out a cop term called force continuum. If you're not familiar with this term, that's cool. It's probably a really good thing. You see, force continuum outlines the various tactics police are trained to use when confronting someone, from verbal commands to non-lethal force, all the way up to the most severe, deadly force. Right now, there's a gaping hole right here. When cops are dealing with someone who won't listen to their verbal commands, the next step almost always involves pain. Whether that's wrestling someone to the ground, hitting them with a baton, spraying them in the face with pepper spray, or shooting them with 50,000 volts. But pain can cause injury, and unfortunately sometimes, injury causes death.
No cop wants to get up in the morning and say, I'm going to go to work today and I'm going to hurt somebody, I'm going to kill somebody. So we thought, what better can we do? Can we create a tool that actually gives an officer a real chance?
Obviously, the most important thing is that no one gets hurt. We have to take people into custody. That is just the nature of our job. It's law enforcement. And so when we have to take people into custody, we want to do so in the means possible that are going to make everyone safe, both the police officer and that person being taken into custody. And this seems to be a mechanism to, without harm.
Anything that's non-lethal is a good step forward. This is an impressive step forward in giving another tool to police officers so that they can reduce injuries to themselves and to the people they're serving.
It's all about one thing, How do we effectively save lives? And this is a police tool, piece of equipment that will save lives. If I save one life from someone utilizing this piece of equipment, I'm a winner.
And when I saw it, I said, you know what? If we can eliminate one fatal shooting, or God forbid, a shooting that severely injures and paralyzes a person, it's something I want to be behind. Such product, something that can make a difference, something that I can say, you know what? Maybe because I supported this product and the police force started using it, I saved the person's life. And for me, that's the passion that I live for.
So our job is, as leaders in law enforcement, what are we going to give the officers? The best tools. A non-lethal device that they will try and it will work, that's going to cause no pain. So I see this is how it's going to unfold in the future. Every officer, hopefully in America, will have the opportunity to carry it. That it's not a sell for me. I tell people, this sells itself.
This is something that's important. This is something that needs to get done. We are going to save a lot of lives. This is going to be something that we look back on 10 years from now, and you're going to look at that police officer's belt and say, I did that. I was a part of that. And that to me is a feeling that I haven't had in my whole career. I was planning on just kind of investing and then moving on, but I'm having fun. And this is important work. So it's not just the monetary aspect of it. I think it's doing something really good for society. So
I really feel that this tool will enhance the perception of people of how they see law enforcement.
Before I conducted these interviews, I didn't get it at first. And by it, I mean the bigger picture. I mean, I confess, I just saw a new technology, a new company that had enormous upside potential. You can see from these interviews, you can see why cops are passionate about this device. Because they became police officers to protect and serve, not to harm and kill. And I know that's what the rest of us want too. So that takes us to the part you've all been waiting for. And what happened when I got shot by this device and the screen went black?
Do this like you count 3, 2, 1. Is that how you?
Wow, that was cool.
How do you feel?
That was cool.
Startled you?
Yeah, it definitely started. The sound was pretty crazy.
I didn't hurt you, right?
No. So it's.
Do you feel like you could?
Don't pull because I see it in the
Okay.
back. I don't want it to dig
So if I pull, what's going to happen?
it's going to dig into you.
It's going to dig into you.
It'll dig into you, so you can't. So even if you have it wrap it up around your feet, you can't really.
What was your first impulse after you heard the bang?
It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It does. It's scary. Even though I'm prepared, I'm like, yeah, but even, it does it's a shock factor where it's which, makes you stop right away. Because even with the countdown, I love what he did. He goes and shot it before the
I saw
countdown.
you look down. You still jumped.
Oh yeah, I
You know it's
jumped.
coming.
Oh, it's very loud, but it's wrapped up I can't. And if I try to extend, I can't do it. Pretty cool, right? As you can see, I was completely tied up, much like this. That's a Kevlar cord, the material they make bulletproof vests out of. As I pulled my arms, the cord only got tighter. There's no way I was reaching for a weapon or even throwing a punch. In fact, before you realize what happened, the cops are usually on you, taking you down. Look at this guy getting completely tripped up. But perhaps just as impressive is the sound it makes. Believe me, I know, it scared the crap out of me. The bang is enough to shock a person into submission. It literally sounds like they're shooting at you. But as groundbreaking as this technology is, it actually traces its roots all the way back to man's first days on this planet. A weapon like this, which ties someone or some animal up in ropes, has been found in archaeology sites nearly 3 million years old. Versions have been used by everyone, from native tribes of North America to Mexican cowboys. But this guy figured out how to take that idea and put it into a device with a laser sight and fire it at over 430 miles per hour. This is what got Scott Cohen's attention.
So you ever see the cowboy movies where in the westerns, where the cowboy has a rope and he's winding it and he flings it and it wraps around the horse or the calf? And I said, yeah, I've seen those. He goes, what if we could fire that out of a gun? I said, if you can do that, yeah, I'd be very interested.
Look, earlier, Bo said he wanted full disclosure. He let out his own money to get in on this company. So let me disclose something too. The company I'm talking about right now did not pay me a dime to market this idea. In fact, I never took money from any company ever to recommend their stock. My research is 100% independent, meaning my job is to simply show you a good stock pick. If I do, you'll be a subscriber to my services for years and hopefully for decades. If not, then you cancel your subscription. And you know what? That's pretty cool. It's put up or shut up. That's how I was brought up to do business. I think it's one of the reasons I've gained a reputation that I have in this industry. An industry I've been a part of my entire life. Now, why am I spending so much time on this one company in particular? I'm doing it for two reasons. The first, I'm a true believer. Look, we all know there's a few bad apples out there. That can be said of any industry, any profession. And with law enforcement, these people need to be punished. No questions asked. But the vast majority of cops are good people. They care. Sure, you're not going to hear this in the news because it's not interesting. It doesn't sell. Yet, at the end of the day, no cop wants to hurt somebody. They don't want to kill anyone, even if it's a clean shoot. And not only will this device make it easier for police to do their job, it will save lives. Number two, I believe if you invest in this company today, you can make an absolute killing. I told you earlier how I found out about this company. A friend of mine is connected to the team that founded it. Fact is, I have high-placed friends all over the world in every industry you can imagine. I made them over the course of my lifelong career in the financial industry. And for over 10 years, every single week, I've been hosting these insiders on my free podcast called Wall Street Unplugged. It's been ranked the #1 financial podcast on iTunes over multiple rating cycles. And it's been downloaded over 8 million times in over 100 countries. You could just do a simple Google search, you can see my over 800 independent reviews. Even a legendary Jim Cramer, the guy who used to be my boss, confessed to me a few years ago that he gets amazing ideas for his show from listening to mine. Kind of humbling. I think it's pretty cool. And I'm proud I've been able to continue on the legacy of my late father, who brought me into this business when I was still a kid. A little over 2 years ago, I decided to spin off my podcast and my lifetime of experience analyzing stocks into my own full-fledged financial research company called Curzio Research. My one and only priority is to bring my connections, these kinds of stories, to the people who could benefit the most. I'm not talking about the people who are already rich and well-connected, no. I'm talking about men and women like you, the individual investor, which I know many of you aren't fortunate enough to get original ideas like this early on. And think about it. Most of you hear about them later on in their growth cycles, like Lyft or Alibaba. We could only get access into these names after they IPO'd and had multi-billion-dollar valuations. This company I'm talking about today does not have a billion-dollar valuation, at least not yet. Still extremely small and almost completely unheard of. But I think very soon, it's going to be one of the biggest stories in the world. And I covered a lot of big trends in my career, from the boom in oil and gas fracking to the emergence of immunotherapy drugs, from pot stocks to cloud computing, from big data analytics to AI. I've flown around the world investigating these stories, sometimes landing in places that don't even have any roads or any signs of human life. But this story right here, in my opinion, can be an absolute layup for investors. I honestly can't think of a single reason why this won't be a standard issue device for every single law officer in the world within the next 5 years. Why? Because it just makes sense. As I said earlier, something's got to give. It's the right technology in the right place, more important, at the right time. But don't take my word for it. Remember what Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams said.
I cannot imagine anyone in policing that after seeing this device would not start the point of doing a pilot project. That is unimaginable to me.
And that's the kicker right there. All this time I've been talking in hypotheticals, the idea of this device and how it's going to revolutionize law enforcement. The fact is, this company only listed on the NASDAQ in December 2018. It's still small, virtually unknown to the general public, and is only just now starting to gain traction. Think of it this way. Today, Axon, the company that makes tasers, enjoys a virtual monopoly. It owns 95% of the market share for stun guns worldwide. That's according to Forbes. And it's going public, Axon shares are up over 10,000%. It's not surprising when you consider there are over 12 million cops in the world. That's a lot of sales and a lot of reasons for shareholders to be happy. But you've seen it for yourself now. I don't think a single person who does will argue. This incredible new device could easily replace tasers as a #1 tool for law enforcement officers. And that's not just my opinion. Cops, community leaders, activists on both sides of the aisle, they say the same thing. It's safer, it's more effective, it's just better. Once this gets used in the field, once it gets caught on someone's cell phone camera or a cop's body camera, and the video goes viral, there's a high probability this stock will start soaring.
We've had a representative from the Israeli National Police at one of our demonstrations. 2 seconds, he goes, "This is unbelievable. I've seen nothing like it." And so it's not just the cops asking. From their end, we have the research and development people asking to see this device. How does it work? Where will it fit? And this is happening all around the world right now for us.
And that's the other thing. The market for this product isn't just here in the United States. It's in every country on earth. And not just for cops.
This thing has got legs, and it's just obviously not just domestically. This is an international product. There's not any one place that doesn't have security issues. It's around the world, and it's consumer, it's law enforcement, it's military. It's endless.
If you go in China, you don't have any of the cops are not armed. What a great piece of equipment. And how many will we need in China? A lot of people. Like you go to London, you go to countries where cops are not armed, they're walking around their little billy clubs. Just think about having this piece of equipment, a person deranged with a knife, they don't have to shoot them, and they'll be able to take that person down.
We've got the SEALs coming to us. We've got different countries coming to us. We've got anywhere from departments of 5 people to 100,000 people in different countries. So you're talking about a major movement.
Just do a quick search online and you'll find hundreds of stories like this. As I said before, over 1,000 people have died after a police altercation in which tasers were used. There have been hundreds of civil cases brought against police agencies as a result, and hundreds of millions of dollars have been paid by police agencies to settle these cases. That's in stark contrast to the stories being written about this new device, which is why this tiny company is fielding an average of 5 to 10 requests every single day from agencies around the world to test this new device. Just how much do people in the industry believe in it? Well, the co-founder of Taser recently signed on as the president of this tiny company and went on air saying he plans to use the exact same rollout strategy. Let me say that again. The man who co-founded Taser and took it from nothing to a virtual monopoly is now spearheading the same campaign for this new technology. I don't know if you can get a better endorsement than that. Right now, these devices sell for about $800. There are a little over 12 million cops in the world. And you could do the math. We're talking about potential sales in the billions of dollars. If even just a tiny fraction of those cops end up using this tiny company's device, it can mean hundreds, if not thousands of percent gains for this stock. Now, I'm sure some of you watching this are going to start Googling this thing right away. If you haven't started already, I don't blame you. But here's the thing, though. I strongly recommend you read my full report on this company before you dive right in, for a number of reasons. I won't get into all of them here. Instead, I'll do you one better. I'll give you this research for free. It includes the name of the company, the name of the device, the major players involved, my breakdown of the numbers, the full story, including what you absolutely must do before you invest in this stock. When you read it, you'll be much better positioned, and I think you'll see exactly why I believe you can make a small fortune on this stock if you get in right away. I mentioned it earlier. I started my own financial research firm a couple years ago. It's called Curzio Research. My flagship publication is called Curzio Research Advisory. If you like the full details on this opportunity, all you need to have to do is sign up for a risk-free trial. Now, I normally charge $199 a year for this service, but today, through this special offer, you can try it for just $99. That's half off what I normally charge. And again, you could try it absolutely risk-free. You sign up, take a look at my special report, we have 30 days to decide if the membership is right for you. And during those 30 days, I want you to do me a favor. Look at every single stock I recommend in the newsletter since inception. Go through every report, check my track record, do your due diligence. That's your job as an individual investor who may be learning about me and Curzio Research for the very first time. And once you do, you'll see how much work I put into every one of my recommendations, into my research. And you'll be hard-pressed to find research like this anywhere within our industry. So if you think my research is right for you, great. You have to do a thing. You can expect at least one new report from me every month for the next year, covering the biggest investment opportunities in the world. If not, simply call my customer service team before your 30-day trial is up, and I'll refund every single penny you paid, no questions asked. It can even keep the report, my compliments. As a new subscriber, you'll also have immediate access to some other work I think you're going to find very valuable. For example, I mentioned earlier that I'm kind of a tech nut. I love technology. I'm fascinated by the innovations behind groundbreaking advancements. So every year, I travel to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. It's kind of like Disney World for guys like me. This year, I got to play a robot in a game of ping pong. As you can see, he kind of kicked the crap out of me. But it's not all fun and games while I'm there. My primary goal is to uncover the biggest and most impressive technology trends set to take off. And this year, I created a special report titled The Best, Worst, and Craziest Tech Trends of 2019. In this report, I'll tell you all about which companies I expect to explode this year, which ones to absolutely avoid, and which ones will simply blow your mind. You'll also get immediate access to the secret crypto stock playbook. By now, I'm sure you know all about cryptocurrencies. They dominated the news cycle pretty much all last year. That's not what this report is about. Instead, I want to tell you about a little-known asset class called crypto stocks. Unlike cryptocurrencies, crypto stocks trade on major U.S. exchanges. You could buy them through your regular broker. And it can be just as explosive as assets like Bitcoin, but with much less volatility. Cryptos are starting to gain momentum again. And many of these stocks could see incredible returns in the months and years ahead. And even if cryptos don't touch new highs, these stocks could still take off, thanks to the innovative use of blockchain technology that often has little or nothing to do with Bitcoin and other cryptos. I've spent over $1 million in 11 months researching this new sector. I've interviewed dozens of crypto insiders, including CEOs, programmers, venture capitalists, building a powerful Rolodex of contacts. I've used advanced computer modeling to identify patterns. I've isolated the 11 indicators that pinpoint crypto stocks poised to explode with pretty amazing precision. This report reveals my 11 crypto catalysts and how to use them to pinpoint crypto stocks. And there's one other thing you'll get for trying Curzio Research Advisory today: the race to predict the future. Big data is still in its infancy. And in this special bonus report, you discover how to tap into the amazing gains that are ahead. It's being used to improve people's lives across the board. It's increasing efficiency and productivity across every sector. And companies are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in this space. Consulting giant McKinsey Global says it's the next frontier for innovation, competition, and productivity. In this special bonus report, I'll break down this trend in detail, including exactly how you can get involved. Of course, you'll also get a full year of Curzio Research Advisory. So on the second Wednesday of every month, you receive my regular monthly report via email. In it, you learn the full details of what I consider to be the very best opportunity in the markets today. And in the past, I've covered everything from oil and gas to tech and biotech to real estate and even collectibles. My Rolodex runs the gamut from thought leaders to world leaders, wildcatters to corporate bankers. Every month, I'll digest the information I gather from these sources, combine them with my decades of experience in the field, mixed all together with my own analysis, and bring you the full details of what I consider to be the very best opportunity in the markets at that moment. Of course, the markets move on a daily basis. So in between issues of my letter, I'll keep you posted via email on the state of my recommended portfolio and let you know if my thesis about each one of my recommendations has changed. And from time, I'll even issue special buy alerts as new opportunities present themselves that simply can't wait until the next issue of Curzio Research Advisory. So here it all is, the full breakdown of what you'll receive when you sign up today. Within minutes of signing up, I'll send you my full report on the amazing new police technology I've been talking about today. It's called Inside the 20X Air Cuff Opportunity. I think this will ultimately replace tasers as the device of choice for law officers, security officers, even military personnel all over the world. If that happens, and this tiny stock becomes a household name, early investors stand to make a fortune. Remember, early investors in Taser had the chance to make 10,000% returns. You'll also receive my special reports, the best, worst, and craziest tech of 2019, the crypto stock playbook, the race to predict the future. And as part of your subscription, you'll also receive the weekly breakdown. This is a digest my team and I put together of the top stories and most relevant events going on in the world today. A breakdown of the most important stories and how they affect finance, politics, the economy, the markets, and potentially your portfolio. You'll receive this in your inbox every Sunday. You'll be fully prepared for the week ahead. Again, if you're interested, you can sign up today through this special offer for just $99. That's half off the regular rate. When you consider that even a tiny investment in the ideas I've been talking about today could return 100 times that amount or more, I think it's a no-brainer. And remember, your membership is completely risk-free. You have 30 days to decide if my work is right for you. If not, no worries. Just call my customer service team and I'll give you a full refund. Either way, you get instant access to everything I just described at no additional charge. And they're yours to keep. As this year unfolds, I believe you're going to see a lot of opportunities to make a lot of money in the markets. I look forward to having you on board. Just click the link below to get started. Oh, and one final thing. As I was preparing for this video, I get an exciting text from Scott Cohen at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. This device had just been used for the very first time in a real-life altercation, and it was a complete success. A man had threatened a woman with a shotgun and barricaded himself inside a room. SWAT team was deployed. In the past, this incident could have easily ended in bloodshed, possibly death. But instead, the SWAT team shot the man with this device, took him down without any harm to himself, the cops, or anyone else. Now it's been deployed successfully in the field. I think it's just a matter of time before we see videos popping up on YouTube, news channels, and everywhere else. And again, when that happens, this tiny unknown company won't be so unknown or tiny anymore. So if you're interested, I urge you to read my report right away. You can get it by clicking the link below.